Jai Shishi Gaur Nitai ki Jai. Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki
Jai.
Shishi Radha Sharad Bihari ki
Jai.
Namayo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine
Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Prasarine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Astadya Nishutaye
Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Rishatarine
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Vrinda
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda
Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda
Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Sri Advaita Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Hare Hare Rama, Krishna Jagdaya Namaha.
Hare Rama, Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Hare Hare Rama, Krishna Jagdaya Namaha.
Hare Hare Rama, Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Hare Hare Rama, Krishna Jagdaya Namaha.
Hare Hare Rama, Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Hare Hare Rama, Krishna Jagdaya Namaha. Jagdaya Madhavaya Shivaya Namaha. Jagdaya Madhavaya Shivaya Namaha.
Gopal Govinda Ram, Shri Madhusudan.
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 Gopal Govinda Ram, Shri Madhusudan. Gopal Govinda Ram, Shri Madhusudan. Gopal Govinda Ram, Shri Madhusudan. Gopal Govinda Ram, Shri Madhusudan. Gopal Govinda Ram, Shri Madhusudan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai Om Vishnu Bharat Paramahamsa Parivrajak Acharya Ashtotara Sata Shishimala Swange Esi Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrind ki jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Naam Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास हरि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय। गंगा माई की जय। जमुना माई की जय। तुलसी देवी की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। Gaur Prem Anande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glory to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga Hari Hari Bo.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Jagadisha Hare, Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Welcome, devotees. Welcome all of you to our Sunday ISKCON Philadelphia Sunday Feast program. Those of you who are here with us live in the temple room, welcome. Thank you for coming out. As well as those who are joining us on Zoom and YouTube, thank you for joining us remotely. Happy Kartik to everybody. I hope your holy month of Kartik this was the first week. I hope it has been special for you. And those of you who are starting late, it is never too late. The fact that you're joining here with us now is an important step in coming closer to Krishna. Tonight we have a very special event. Those of you who've seen it on our newsletter know that we're kicking off Philadelphia's leg in the global initiative of Live to Give. This is a very special time of the year for distributing Srila Prabhupada's books. Over the decades, this has been known as the Srila Prabhupada Book Marathon time. Actually, it usually starts after Thanksgiving, but due to the need of the time, due to the pandemic that's going on, a lot of upheaval going on in the world, an effort was made to actually start to raise the consciousness of the world, to start this early. And we'll find out about the goals of this program and how you can get involved tonight. To begin, though, we want to start off by glorifying the Bhagavad Gita, to be able to talk about it, the message of the Gita, the importance of Krishna's talking to Arjuna. So we have Hariyashra Prabhu with us today. He's going to be speaking to us. Hariyashra Prabhu, he is a disciple of His Holiness Satsrup Maharaj. He is a very, very long time Philadelphia devotee. He joined in the late 70s. He was with us here. He was with ISKCON during the time of Srila Prabhupada in Philadelphia. And many of you know him for the Govinda's restaurant at the corner of Broad and South Street. All the wonderful prasadam that he's distributed down there through the years. And currently he's serving here at ISKCON of Philadelphia as ISKCON, our outreach director. Very, very wonderful things are coming up with as far as book distribution, preaching, and so many other opportunities that we'll hear about tonight. Before we go to him, I want to take everybody on a quick darshan. Those who didn't join us right at 5 o'clock, or at 4:30 rather, didn't get a chance to get an up-close darshan, so I just want to do that to those that are joining in. Yeah. His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki. The Most Merciful Lordship, Shishi Gaur Nitai Ki. Sundays, they're always in their best. Okay, something happened there. Sorry about that. I tried to rotate to get all of Jagannath in there. Shri Jagannath Baladev Srimati Subhadra Maharani Ki. Such beautiful turbans. Nicely put on, the garlands today. So nice. And their most beautiful lordships, Shri Shri Radha Sharad Bihari Ki. This is actually their Janmashtami outfit that they're wearing today. Okay, so at this point, we're going to hand it over to Hariyashra Prabhu, who's going to begin speaking to us on the Bhagavad Gita.
From where I can take the muzzle off. Yeah. I think I can't sing so high. You know, I have to push myself.
So everybody can hear.
It's good enough.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Jayurada Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari. Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari. Jashodanandana Rajajanarandana. Jashodanandana Rajajanarandana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari. Jashodanandana Rajajanarandana. Jashodanandana Rajajanarandana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Vishnu Pad, Paramahansa, Puri Charger, Astro Tadasati Sri Shrimad, Divine Loving Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pad, Paramahansa, Puri Charger, Astro Tadasati Sri Shrimad, Divine Loving Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava Ki Jai, Namacharya, Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Sekho, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Sri Vasudeva Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Sri Radha Krishna, Gop Gopinath, Radhikun, Shamkun, Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Namadweep, Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Prem Anande.
Hari Hari Bol.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare
All
Krishna.
glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Lotus feet. Sri Guru and Sri Guranga. Jai Sri Guru.
You can use yours.
Hmm?
You can use yours. I'm just doing this for the
Okay.
people
Okay. Mine, I
watching.
So, Hare Krishna. So even before we read the verse, I'll talk a little bit, because today is a very wonderful situation here in ISKCON, Philadelphia. There is a marathon taking place right now. And up to now, we have not been a part of it. But we also have not had time to enlighten you and let you know exactly what was taking place. So today, we're going to use this time to share with you the wonderful information about Live to Give. And I watched His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu give a seminar a few weeks back. And when I watch Vaisheshika Prabhu, I get excited because I know that he was out there in the 70s distributing books in the airport. And today, he's still distributing books, but he's distributing books in such a way that he's enlivening so many others to distribute books. So that same fire that was there, I haven't distributed books in years, and I thought I'd never had any other service than distributing Srila Prabhupada's books. So I become very enlivened when I see that the book distribution is going on. And here in Philadelphia, we used to distribute so many books. The book distribution was the heart and soul of our temple. And our temple was alive. It was full of life. And that book distribution brought us down to see their lordships. And when we came in the morning to see their lordships, we were so enthused because the Bajari would dress them in such a way to enliven the devotees. And we'd watch the worship. And the cooks would cook in such a way as to please their lordships, but also to take care of the devotees. So there was a whole reciprocation. We were all doing everything together. We were Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan party. We were Srila Prabhupada's Sankirtan party. And sitting here in this new temple room, I can't help but think that we're about to embark upon our next adventure of being the Sankirtan party of Lord Chaitanya here in 2020. So it's extremely exciting to me, And this marathon is worldwide, but it's international, but it's about distributing Bhagavad Gitas. 2 million Bhagavad Gitas. I think it's by January the 7th. That's amazing. That is so amazing that the courage is there. So, I'm thinking together, I've been speaking with Dronacharya and Danu Tarpita Prabhu, and we've been trying to figure out what can we do to serve the devotees here in Philadelphia, to have them become enlightened and enlivened, to do whatever you can to be a part of distributing these Gitas. So today, I'm just going to do the simple part of trying to share some of the sweetness from Bhagavad Gita. I think Bhagavad Gita is so chock full of nuts. It's Amrita. It's such a nectarian literature. And, you know, Krishna was going to return to his own abode, but Krishna could have just went back, you know. He had done his work. He had appeased the devotees. He had annihilated the demons. But Krishna left this gift. He left the gift of Bhagavad Gita. And the Bhagavad Gita is so alive that as we stand close and really, really try to concentrate, focus, we hear what Arjuna heard. I haven't heard it properly yet. I get bits and pieces, but I want to hear the way Arjuna heard Bhagavad Gita, because when Krishna asked Arjuna at the end, he asked Arjuna, he said, have you heard what's in the attentive mind? He says, are your doubts and illusions now dispelled? He said, I'm speaking this for your benefit. So I want you to think about it, you know, and do as you wish to do. So that's pretty nice to know that the Supreme Lord, you know, he spoke to Arjuna, his devotee, you know, for his benefit. And we're following in the footsteps of Arjuna. So it's for our benefit that Krishna has left this Bhagavad Gita. What a conversation. So today I'll probably, Drona showed me a verse and I thought of a verse. So I don't know what'll happen, but we'll try to share some of the gifts that have been given. Since we're going to live to give, I feel that in our society, in this Krishna consciousness society, we have been given so many gifts. Whenever you came here, it was that you were given an invitation card to come to the Sunday Love Feast. You were given a book somewhere. You were given the gift of hearing the holy name. You were given the wonderful experience of tasting Krishna Prasadam. You were given, you know, the association of a devotee. I'm a hog. So I received all these gifts. And now we have to find a way to give back, you know, to those others. If we really hear what the Gita has to offer, if we really understand the mission of Srila Prabhupada and this movement, then we want to give. We're already recipients. We're already receiving so much mercy. So we want to give. So, okay, Jonah, I'll stop.
So you can chant it, you can do it as you want, if you want to chant the verse and have them chant.
I'll just chant the verse?
Yeah.
Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, text 7. This chapter of Bhagavad Gita is attaining the Supreme. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu.
Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu.
Mam anusmara yujacha.
Mam anusmara yujacha.
Mayarpita mano buddhir.
Mayarpita mano buddhir.
Mam evaishash shamshaya.
Mam evaishash shamshaya.
Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu.
Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu.
Mam anusmara yujacha.
Mam anusmara yujacha.
Mayarpita mano buddhir.
Mayarpita mano buddhir.
Mam evaishash shamshaya.
Mam evaishash shamshaya.
Tashmat sarveshu kaleshu.
Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu.
Mam anusmara yujacha.
Mam anusmara yujacha.
Mayarpita mano buddhir.
Mayarpita mano buddhir.
Mam evaishash shamshaya.
Mam evaishash shamshaya.
Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu.
Tashmat Sarveshu Kaleshu
Mam anusmarya yudhyacha.
Nam Anusmarya Yujacha
Mayarpita mano buddhir.
Ayarpita Mano Buddhir
Mami vaishya samshaya.
Mam Evaisha Shamshaya Tashmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Mam Anusmara Yujacha Mayarpita Mano Buddhir Mam Evaisha Shamshaya Tashmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Mam Anusmara Yujacha Mayarpita Mano Buddhir Mam Evaisha Shamshaya Tashmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Mam Anusmara Yujacha Mayarpita Mano Buddhir Mam Evaisha Shamshaya. So, what do we do now, Drona? I just do translation, okay. So here, Krishna told Arjuna.
There's somebody on there that wanted to chant also. I don't know.
You say what?
Yeah, I would like to chant.
Oh, I'm sorry. Come on.
Hare Krishna, yeah. Haryasva Prabhuji.
All right, Krishna. You know, if anybody wants to show their face here, it's fine. I don't have to look at the names. If you want to show, I'll see you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Prabhu.
From San Jose.
Okay, let's begin.
Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu
Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu
mam anusmara yudhyacha
Mam Anusmara Yujacha
mayarpita manobuddhir
Mayarpita Mano Buddhir
mam evaisyasya asamshaya.
Mam Evaisha Shamshaya
Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu
Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu
mam anusmare vidhyacha
Mam Anusmara Yujacha
maya arpita mano buddhir
Mayarpita Mano Buddhir
mama eva shaisya asamshaya.
Mam Evaisha Shamshaya
तस्मासु सर्वेषु कालेषु
Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu
माम् अनुस्मरा युधिय च
Mam Anusmara Yujacha
मय्यर्पिता मनो बुद्धिर्
Mayarpita Mano Buddhir
माम् एव सै असंशय
Mam Evaisha Shamshaya. So I'm going to read the translation. Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna, and at the same time, carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me, and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt. So you can bring them back. I have my own. So purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. This instruction to Arjuna is very important for all men engaged in material activities. The Lord does not say that one should give up his prescribed duties or engagements. One can continue them and at the same time think of Krishna by chanting Hare Krishna. This will free one from material contamination and engage the mind and intelligence in Krishna. By chanting Krishna's names, one will be transferred to the supreme planet, Krishna Lok, without a doubt. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Itsanamane Namaste Sarasvati Devi Gauravani Vicharne Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paschatya Desacharne Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Satsrupadas Goswami Itsanamane Satsrupa Vidambane Vinitam Sadabhushnam Bhakti Grantanay Panyam Bhaktivedanta Shikshitam. So, you know, Krishna is just so amazing. And I'm serious. Because here, Krishna and Arjuna are on the battlefield. This is the battle of Kurukshetra. And he's had to take Arjuna through so many emotional changes, you know. Arjuna was upset. And then Arjuna just got past that and he surrendered. But after he surrendered to Krishna, Krishna immediately began to instruct him and educate him. And here in Philadelphia, we've been for quite some time in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna is explaining to Arjuna that he's not the body. He's the self, he's the soul, the spirit soul. And that those others are not their bodies. They're also spirit soul. And then he went to explain the nature that the soul is not going to be cut, burned. You can't kill it. The soul will not be slain when the body is slain. So he's explained that, and we're going on here. But now here, in attaining the Supreme, Arjuna had asked Krishna some other questions about Brahman, and anyway, and Krishna started telling Arjuna about attaining the Supreme. But in this particular situation, Krishna turns and tells Arjuna, therefore, Arjuna, always think of me in the form of Krishna. And at the same time, just carry out your prescribed duty. He was fighting, you know. His duty was that he had so many opposing people on the other side. And he had to really kill them. But Krishna said, do your duty and let your activities be dedicated with me, but your mind and intelligence fixed on me. You will attain me without a doubt. I mean, that's so, in the light of reality, that is so heavy. But all of us have some type of engagement that we perform on a regular basis. Some of us are engaged in the service of Krishna, and others of us, we do our work. But whatever we do, we have to stay fixed. You know, that remembrance of Krishna is essential to keep it there. And I was just thinking in this verse, you know, Krishna, Borijan Prabhu, and his study guide to here, in his book, Surrender Unto Me, he says, so we're always saying, does Krishna want us to remember him? Can I think of Krishna all the time? But when I'm doing my service, do I have to think of Krishna? So the answer here is yes. Krishna wants us to always think of him, 24/7. Always think of Krishna. And that seems to be a Herculean task sometimes for us. But the interesting thing is that devotional service has these 9 processes: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, you know, those 3. And so when we hear about the glories, the wonders of the Supreme Lord, then we start to chant about them. When you hear a lot of wonderful things in the Bhagavad Gita, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and so you start to talk about them. You may even make some inquiry to go deeper and to understand them. But that's hearing, and then that's chanting. What to speak of once you come to understand it? You hear it and you explain it to others. But from hearing and chanting, we begin to remember. It's not just that we're left to our own prowess, you know, because as the years have gone on, my memory is beginning to become less and less. But Krishna says further in the Gita, he says, Savasya chaham riddhi sanivistam matak smritir gyanam apornam cha. He says, from him is coming remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. So Krishna is acting in such a way that he will help us. But at the same time, he's given us a formula which will enable us to remember him. Ultimately, at the time of death, it won't be so easy. But when I hear the body is going through all changes, and I've seen things like that, I don't know, I don't remember the last time I left this, but from the Shastra and from the explanations of others, we understand that it's not such an easy time when the soul is trying to leave the body. So that is the time we need to remember the Supreme Lord. But in our practice of sadhana bhakti, we have the advantage of right now learning to remember the Supreme Lord. And we also get the gift of hearing what he has to say, what his instructions are for us from the Bhagavad Gita. So this is a very nice situation, because with this live to give, live to give, it's also makes me think, as I said earlier, of how much has been given to us in Krishna consciousness. We are such recipients of the mercy of the Supreme Lord, And, if we try to detail it, it's just endless, the kind of mercy that we're receiving. Why don't you put that garland on Vishnu Gadadhar Prabhu? So the mercy that we get from the Bhagavad Gita is that we get an opportunity to understand that this relationship that we're talking about with the Supreme, it is available for us. So Krishna goes back and forth he's just explaining bhakti, but he gives us karma and jnana. So in case we're not there yet, karma yoga, jnana yoga. But the nice point again about these gifts is ultimately we really get the gift of love, And real love is that we get devotional service. And we are also educated with how to go about being engaged in the service of Krishna. Throughout the Gita, Krishna has given so many instructions to Arjuna, but the one simple instruction he gave Arjuna was that just try to learn the truth by approaching the spiritual master. Make that submissive inquiry to him and render service unto him. Those self-realized souls will impart knowledge unto you because they've seen the truth. So this is the way. The way is to ultimately get the blessing of the person in Krishna consciousness. Oftentimes people think, well, I don't have a spiritual master yet. Fine. We've got Prabhupada. We always have the shelter. Anyone who comes to this ISKCON movement, you always have the shelter of Srila Prabhupada. But just as Krishna is directly speaking to Arjuna, oftentimes the questions raised, well, Krishna was speaking to Arjuna, so Arjuna could do what he did. But, Krishna's not here now. But no. Krishna's always here. We don't see him, Krishna's really, another gift is that when Krishna lets us come here to the material world, he says, okay, but he comes with us. So within the heart of each and every living entity, there's the super soul. It's Krishna. Super soul is right there. And as we're ready to perceive him, then he can give us direction. But externally, Krishna he's always sending his pure devotee. Krishna, Brahma, Narada, Vyas, it's constantly coming down. We have the whole parampara. So if we don't have Krishna speaking to us, giving us the instruction, we have the representative of Krishna, which is as good as Krishna. This is a real special gift. But even before you get here to Srila Prabhupada, when you think of Krishna, And his mercy manifestation, because he's got two big mercy manifestations. When you see him in his mercy manifestation as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this is all taking place. This is mercy. This is a gift. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is just so anxious for us to have love of God, you know, that he gives himself in the form of Nam Prabhu. So we have the holy name. We have the literatures. We have the shelter of the pure devotee. But it gets sweeter. The devotees of the Lord they understand, you know, the mission of the Lord. So even when we didn't meet Prabhupada, I remember so many years ago, I wasn't going to get to see Srila Prabhupada. But the feeling that developed for Srila Prabhupada wasn't because I was so smart, because that wasn't going to happen. Because there's self-realization and there's sense gratification. And we're geared up, we're trained up towards sense gratification. And self-realization and sense gratification, they go nil together. But who helped the devotees of the devotees of Srila Prabhupada? It was amazing. And when you meet the disciples of the representative of Krishna, they too carry within their hearts this same fire. They feel the urgency to give you the gift. It was a while before I got to see Prabhupada. And, you know, I wasn't going to have Prabhupada. I didn't expect anything close from Prabhupada. But his servants, they would come and say, you know, take the book. Have you ever been to the love feast? So the servants of the spiritual master, they give you the association. And that's special mercy. You know, even if we have no qualification, we get qualification because they just want us to have it so much. So we often think about Krishna, but Krishna is constantly there in those representing Krishna. And we don't have to have the spiritual master, that person who's working on behalf, that person who introduces you to Krishna consciousness, who gives you your first prasadam. Remember, a devotee had his hand, and his hand was a little wet and greasy. And he stuck it into his plate, and he comes out with halava. And he tells me, halava, to take it. And I thought, it's the first time I came to it. I thought, he's just giving me that was out of his hand. And his hand is wet and a little greasy. I don't know. But something inside said, take it. Just take it. So I threw it in my mouth. And I thought, wow. I was a vegetarian, but I was eating my mother's cottage cheese and, you know, yogurt and cantaloupes and things like that. But there was Krishna Prasad. And a devotee gave me prasadam. And the devotee taught me to chant Hare Krishna. And the devotee would take me into the backyard and say, come on, Bhakta Howie. Let's dig up the ground. You know, let's plant some plants for Krishna. And so we began to engage in devotional service. I didn't know anything about devotional service. I just did what he said. Then he said, okay, read. I'm going to sit down. You read from here. And he'd open Nectar Devotion, and he told me to read, you know. And so I said, okay, and I read. He said, okay, come on, let's go take some prasadam. And in that way, we're getting one gift after another. The mercy of the devotees is endless. And so with this marathon that we're about to join, we want to first reflect on the fact that so much has been given to us. We really should take a look and see that we've been given so much. And much of what we've been given really comes from the scriptures. Although the devotees have helped us in so many ways, in order to change the way that we're thinking, the way that we're living, we really need to hear from the scriptures. And so here in the Bhagavad Gita, when the devotees would tell me about changing my life and, you know, living a life, a monastic type life, chanting a certain amount of rounds daily and following these regulated principles. It just seemed so far-fetched. It didn't seem that it would be possible for a person who had other engagements. Although the sentiment of it seemed very nice, but I didn't think how I'd be able to do it. But as I listened more and more to the Bhagavad Gita, all the beginning, something began to happen in that Gita. By hearing Krishna speak in Bhagavad Gita, at a certain point, I thought, well, is he talking to me too? You know? And the message that he's sharing in the Gita and the methodology that he's giving to understand the conclusion of what the Gita is offering is there, and it's there for us. When he tells, when I told you, he told Arjuna, just try to learn the truth by approaching the spiritual master, inquire from him submissively and render service. And so then, and then in the next verse he says, and when you have thus learned the truth, this is the old translation, you'll know that all beings are but part of me, and that they are all in me, and that they are mine. You know, this is a gift. And then he explains that there's nothing so sweet and sublime as transcendental knowledge. And there's a boat. I love that verse. I'm getting close to the one that Drona told me to talk about. But the Gita is like candy. Candy is good wherever you get it. I mean, for me, I shouldn't have it, but it's sweet. So in 34, I'll just let you hear what Krishna said instead of me. Then he says, even if you are considered to be the most sinful of all sinners, and I kind of felt like that. Coming in the association of devotees, I start to feel like I was pretty sinful. When you are situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge, you will be able to cross over the ocean of miseries. That ocean of miseries is intense. Let's hear what Srila Prabhupada had to say, because you always need it. You need Prabhupada too. Oh no, I got the wrong one. They are mine. (36) Srila Prabhupada. Proper understanding of one's constitutional position in relationship to Krishna is so nice that it can at once lift one from the struggle for existence which goes on in the ocean of nescience. This material world is sometimes regarded as an ocean of nescience, and sometimes as a blazing forest. In the ocean, however, expert a swimmer one may be, the struggle for existence is very severe. If someone comes forward and lifts the struggling swimmer from the ocean, he is the greatest savior. Perfect knowledge received from the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the path of liberation. The boat of Krishna consciousness is very simple, but at the same time, the most sublime. That is so sweet. You know, that is so nice. You know, this transcendental knowledge, it situates us in that boat, you know, because we're in the material world. We're in the material world, and you know the obstacles better than me. There's so many different obstacles. But when someone comes and lifts you up, when someone gives you the tools, when someone gives you the ability to save yourself, how wonderful. Got to go to the one Drona taught me about. And sometimes I give you Prabhupada's purports because Prabhupada is just so wonderful. He makes everything become clear. The one that you had drawn was 38. Yes. In this world, there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Such knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism, and one who has become accomplished in the practice of devotional service enjoys this knowledge within himself in due course of time. So, this knowledge is above the influences of material nature. This Bhagavad Gita is above the mundane sphere. Mam chayovya bhikcharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samati jaitan brahma bhuyaya kopate. The secret is for one who's engaged in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstance, at once transcends these three modes of material nature and thus comes to the spiritual platform, the level of Brahman. And so the point is to get out of this material entanglement. But to do this, we've received so many gifts, so many benedictions. We received the association of devotees. We received the scriptures. We received prasadam. This give to live marathon, live to give rather, this live to give marathon is our chance to give back to society. So many people do not have the opportunity to wake up and do worship. They don't have the opportunity to wake up and chant the holy name. What to speak of to understand that the Lord is our constant companion. You know, I was thinking in the program yesterday when Rabindra Srupa was talking about, you know, always chanting constantly. I remember, and he was talking about how we have to work, and as we grow deeper in our attachment, then we come to the higher platforms. But I just remember when we were younger in Krishna consciousness, when you first come to Krishna consciousness, you get a lot of extra mercy. I used to ask the devotees, I said, I can't turn off it's like a tape in my head. Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, all day long. I was hearing Jai Jagannath. I'm cleaning the buckets. You know, whatever I'm doing, Jai Jagannath is going off in my head. So this is Krishna's mercy. And when we chant the holy name, sometimes the mantra just goes, it sticks with you. It's in your head, just like that. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that the advantage that we now have by being engaged in Krishna's service, that others have it as well. Lord Chaitanya said, everywhere you go, everyone you meet, give them Krishna. We want to give everyone Krishna. We don't just want to look at the different political and social problems that we're experiencing or facing today and say, well, this party's right, this party's wrong, this situation needs to be changed. The problems will constantly come. This place, you know, is not a place for a gentleman or a lady. It's explained. This place is a place of suffering. But the wonderful thing is that we have an opportunity to revitalize our Krishna consciousness, to reestablish our relationship with Krishna. It sounds very simple and truly is, but that is really what's going on today in this world. The real situation is that we have an opportunity of going back home, back to Godhead. And it may not reflect anything that you've been trained or any of the other things that you're doing when you leave this temple, but ultimately, as life becomes closer to an end, you will want solutions to the problems. So while you're young, while you're strong, take the solution to the problem. The solution is Krishna consciousness. The explanation or the way of progressing in Krishna consciousness is explained in this Bhagavad Gita. But that relationship with Krishna is also available, and it opens up from the Bhagavad Gita. we have the task of distributing 2 million Bhagavad Gitas in a few months. I don't know what we can do, but more than distributing the Bhagavad Gita is the idea of the fact that we are living to give what we've received. I think that means something. It means that I've understood that that there's been help along the way, and I've decided that I want to be a part of helping someone else. See, you get these things from the Association of Devotees. I call this really character. This is really high class. Not knowing what fork or what spoon to grab when you're at the table, how to chew it properly. No. Proper diction, wearing the right attire at the right event. No, that's not real. That's not real high class, high caliber. High caliber is to develop those qualities that you hear about, to take the chance. And it's with the mantra. The mantra is our main way, but the Bhagavad Gita gives us a brain. Krishna told Arjuna, and he who studies this sacred conversation of ours worships me by means of intelligence. He says, and he who preaches this Bhagavad Gita to the devotees, for him, pure devotional service is guaranteed. That's the goal. And at the end, he'll come back to me. So we're not in it for what we can get, but it's nice to know that there's so many side effects, side benefits, which come from having a heart which is open to give. So I'm sure I've done more than I'm supposed to. Now, Danu Tarpata and Dronacharya Prabhus, they're really going to explain just what is going on here.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
I'm going to switch and bring the Tarpata Prabhu up. I think because we have to stay in front of the.
You say what?
Because we have to stay in front of the computer 1 second.
He's going to be in front of me. No, I'm leaving. I'm getting out.
You can sit in the chair over there.
Come on, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Sure. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Hare Yasha Prabhu.
Thank you. I wanna.
Interpreter Prabhu, we're unable to get that going. So what I was thinking is we can turn this around. You can maybe sit next to it.
Sure.
Speak to the group, still kind of look. The people on Zoom and YouTube, they'll be able to see it. Does that work?
That's fine.
Okay. So I'm just going to bring you over here. We're going to switch this around. Not here. You'll come over here?
Sure, bro.
And just give us 1 second here. We're putting up a presentation. Okay. So share. Okay, everyone, this is Dana Tarpata Prabhu, and he is our book distribution leader here at ISKCON of Philadelphia, and he's going to speak more about this Live to Give marathon and how you can get involved. Dana Tarpata Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. And my humble obeisances to everyone in the temple and also to those watching over Zoom. So please slide you just a little bit this way. Thank you, Prabhu. So thank you for coming, and I would be very brief. So first of all, thank you to Hariyash Prabhu for setting up the stage. He summarized the Live to Give campaign, that it is all about giving to others what we have received. And I will just talk through the Live to Give campaign, the logistics, the background, and what it is all about. So before I do, I would start with a quote from Srila Prabhupada, which says that, thank you very much for your sincere endeavors to distribute my books widely. If you continue with such desire and determination, Krishna will give you all the strength to increase more and more. So we all know how book distribution was so dear to Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada really focused and emphasized book distribution so that the Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement can spread to each town and every village. Prabhu, how does it come down? Awesome. Very recently, that was in October, ISKCON worldwide closed the Bhadra Purnima 2020 campaign. This was a campaign that united all the temples in ISKCON worldwide. The goal was to distribute 10,000 Srimad Bhagavatam sets in 2020. And because of all the temples coming together, right from India to North America, the goal was smashed, and ISKCON overall achieved 24,000 books, 24,000 sets. And all this in the background when COVID was at its peak. So this shows two things, that devotees are very merciful. Devotees really want the scriptures to go out to each and every individual who is receptive. And the other thing is that people in turn are also very receptive, because there are so many doubts, there are so many fears that is coming in everyone's mind, that why will this be the end of the world? What will COVID do to me, to my family, to my job? So there are so many questions, and that is what the potency in this books is, in the books that Srila Prabhupada have written is all about. And that is the genesis of Live to Give campaign, which is about Bhagavad Gita. So Live to Give is again an ISKCON initiative that is worldwide, and the goal is 2 million Bhagavad Gitas in the world. So typically the Prabhupada Marathon starts in December after Thanksgiving, but because of whatever is going on, because of COVID, there is so much of uncertainty, fear, politics. This started right at the time of Purushottam Mass. So yes, at Philadelphia, we are a little late, but we still have time to catch up. We still have time to catch up to do our part so that we can also contribute what the other temples are doing. Now, most of you, at least in the temple, may not be able to see this map. So this is North America, the pledges of the Bhagavad Gitas, that how each and every temple is contributing. We all have goals, right? We make goals because those are very powerful. This is Kartik month. I'm sure that most of us have individual goals about chanting, about doing extra services. So that's also about this campaign, this Live to Give. All the temples, or most of the temples in North America, they have come forward. I will not go through all of them, but I will start from the West Coast, ISV, which is in California. They have a pledge of 50,000 Bhagavad Gitas. Moving to the South, there is Texas, which is 12,000. Then coming to the Mid-Atlantic, there is Baltimore, which is 12,000. Then going up to Northeast and maybe into Canada, Toronto is 8,000. ISKCON Philadelphia, we have pledged 1728 Bhagavad Gitas. It looks small compared to what other temples have done, but this is also in relation to what we did last year. So 1728, if we do the maths in terms of boxes, this is a magical number of 108 boxes of hardbound Bhagavad Gita. We all have friends, we all have family, we stay in neighborhoods where people can really benefit from the Bhagavad Gitas. There is Diwali next week, there is Govardhan Puja the week after next, followed by Thanksgiving. And then we all enter into December, which is Christmas. And this time, the Gita Jayanti is also on 25th of December. So this will also make even Jesus Christ happy that Gita Jayanti is also on the same day. So there are so many opportunities for us to get this message out. To get this message out, take the Gitas and give it to people who can really benefit. Even though the COVID has really hit everyone hard in some way or the other, like some people because of kids at home and some people with jobs, but still it's amazing that the way that devotees have spread out and distributed books. Even in Philadelphia, since March, our congregation has been successful in placing 1,500 Gitas in motels. So we are very fortunate to have Bhakta Charles over here, who has single-handedly called up hundreds and hundreds of hotels and convinced them to take Gitas. We have also been successful in speaking to people or the contacts over phone and convince them that this is the time to take books. And this is what the devotees are doing. They are virtually calling up. They are simply calling up people over phone because of the whatever is going around and telling them about the books, telling them about Krishna. And if people agree on the other side, then everything is contactless. The payment is taken over PayPal or over credit card, and the books are shipped to them so that it is safe for the person who is receiving as well as safe for us as well. The second thing that is mentioned over here is Shastradan. This is very, very powerful. We all know the potency and the power in Bhagavad Gita. Now, as Hariyash Prabhu said, this is our time to give back. This is our time to give back. And Shastradan can be in form of so many things, like one can give it as a gift, one can also sponsor, so the temple can place those books to the right people on their behalf. There is also Shraddhan, which is now being started, like that to benefit those souls who have departed from this world. In India, there is a big emphasis on Gram Vidyadan, which means distributing Bhagavad Gitas in the villages. So then the villagers can also benefit from this auspicious knowledge. And the last point over here is the World Gita Day, which this year, as I said, falls on 25th December. So and on that, and it will culminate with a big yagya similar to what happened with Bhadra Purnima, where the entire Bhagavad Gita will be recited, and we will be happy to share more details as things get finalized. Now, what can we do on our part? So Bhagavad Gita, as you must have seen, as you came into the temple hall, that we put up the display of the Bhagavad Gitas. We have Bhagavad Gitas in multiple languages, Indian languages, regional languages. We also have in Spanish and Arabic. So now it's our opportunity to take those Bhagavad Gitas. What we are doing as a temple is we are giving them at the magical price of $108. So hardbound books, 16 in a case. So each case has 16 Bhagavad Gita hardbound. And the same holds true for the regional languages. And then for the softbound, there are 24 books. So both of these cases are being given for $108. So you can stop by outside and you can sign up and you can pick your case and find out who are the right people who will really benefit from these Bhagavad Gitas. And lastly, there are other ways also that you can help or become an instrument to spread Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement. As was said, like Motel Gita is a big opportunity. There are 1.4 million motels and hotels in the US, only 1.4 million. And ISKCON has a Motel Gita project that has so far placed close to around 500,000 Gitas in those motels. Only 500,000, and each hotel has so many rooms. So you can imagine there's so much of an opportunity. We have the script for Motel Gita. All it takes is an initiative and a drive that, yes, I will do it. There's also the Back to Godhead drive that we have been doing so that we can get more people to sign up for Back to Godhead subscription. This was the first flagship magazine in ISKCON, which Prabhupada painstakingly started in the 1940s. And it has been still continued as a bi-monthly, once in 2 months. Absolutely amazing. The other one is, the third thing is, and this is not an exhaustive list, by the way. And the third thing is like, help us in the book table in the temple. Like there are so many people who come in, outsiders who may not be knowing about the potency in the books. And we know what is there in this. So we can very well explain to them so that whosoever comes for the first time in this temple at least leaves with a set or a Bhagavad Gita. And the last one, or the last one on this slide, is a smart box. Now, these are books which are placed in grocery stores or in yoga studios, and they advertise for themselves. So they have their price tag on those books, and people can take the book and put the required Lakshmi in a locker, which is safe in the box itself. And then what you have to do is, what one has to do is just take care of the inventory and replenish the books. So there are so many other ways by which you can come forward and help us, because the world needs this, especially as we get into the winter, and also the news that is going around that COVID will hit this part of the world very, very badly. I don't want to be pessimistic, but I am following the signs just because it's very cold, and it's just that more of the people will need this type of a literature, which is transcendental beyond this material world. So help us spread the word to your friends, family. Last year, we spoke to 5 or 6 of our neighbors and friends, and 4 of them ended up taking a box of a Bhagavad Gita to distribute to their neighbors. So you never know how word of mouth spreads. Please do that. Those devotees who are on the Zoom call, if they have a Bhakti Vriksha or a Friday program, please spread this word out. We have all the resources, the slides, and we can share it with you. So sharing is caring. And I think that's what is also very important in the Live to Give campaign. So the more we get the word out, the more people will come forward and get the immense benefit of Bhagavad Gita. So sorry if I went overboard, but then...
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'd like to actually invite Haryasha Prabhu back up here. There's a seat right here. If there's any questions, stay here, Prabhu. We heard two presentations here, Haryasha Prabhu and Dr. Prabhu. We have any questions about how to get involved? Any questions on the Bhagavad Gita class? We can take those questions right now. We actually have a little bit of time. The Arctic doesn't start until 6:45. We have a little bit of freedom. We may have some questions from our online audience as well. We can take those questions from either the audience here or online. And if we don't have anything, that's fine too. Our purpose today was to really bring an awareness of this drive that is going on. And you'll hear more about it week after week after week as we continue to build. So do we have any questions? Anything? Again, it could be over the Gita verse or about how to get involved in the drive. Sri Lochan, Prabhu?
Prabhu, you know the setup you have out here? In coming, you see a nice display. If you were to take that, like, 30 square foot, the table, you could probably, within a week, sell a lot of Bhagavad Gita there. As far as having it there, everybody knows what it is. If you take it somewhere where people don't know, they see it. Maybe have devotees chanting around you while you're doing it, or in the park. That is, I don't understand. That's how we used to do in the old days. We did.
Good point. Good point.
A lot of books back then. We had Krishna book and Bhagavatam. They trying to read this book. We would just set up a table. People would come. They'd pass it, going to work and coming back.
Absolutely, Prabhu.
Weather this week is very nice. Also, there's a lot of people downtown celebrating this demoniac president and vice president. The pro-abortion.
All right. Okay. So he's going to respond. That's enough.
So we gotta like.
All right. Let him respond. He's going to.
I'm not done talking.
I know, but because we have a couple other people here.
I would let him respond.
Yeah. Let him respond.
I think that's a great idea, Prabhu. And we have been thinking on those lines. It's just that we have to balance our enthusiasm with also the situation that is outside because of COVID. So I think that's one piece that we have balancing. So what we are doing instead of is rely more on virtual Sankirtan, calling up people, our friends, our contacts, our neighbors, so that at least we can get the word out. But as things become better, there's always an opportunity to put tables outside the grocery stores or in public places, because we do know that these things help a lot, getting the word out. So you're absolutely right in that.
Good question. Thank you. We also have a question online from Renuka. She says, can we place orders online? And will you be able to ship them to the recipient's addresses within the USA?
Yes, Mataji. So we are ready or fully equipped to ship Bhagavad Gitas anywhere in the US. And we just will also send out the details in terms of where, if someone is interested, can send their online orders, and we will take care of that. We also have PayPal, which takes the payment, so that is very, very seamless. So no one has to share their credit card information. Payment can come through PayPal. So we will also have all those details sent out to the congregation very soon. But then a very good question, Madhu.
And if we want to order, how do we go about ordering if we're not here physically? How do we get in contact?
So for us or for someone who wants to?
Say somebody online who's unable to come to the temple. How do we get in touch?
So we will share an email where all the orders can come, and then the orders and the Bhagavad Gitas will be shipped to that residence. So no one has to come to the temple physically to pick up the books. We can take care of that, as we have been doing for Mortal Gitas also.
Great. Okay. Are there any questions? Any other questions the devotees have?
I will just keep it in my hand.
Okay, we'll conclude. I just want to make a couple quick announcements about upcoming events this week and next week on the Vaishnav calendar. I'd like to first, this Wednesday, we're having a new course that's beginning here in ISKCON Philadelphia. It's online, it's Zoom, it's on Vaishnav etiquette and behavior. It's a 5-week course that'll go over temple room etiquette, kirtan etiquette, relationships among the devotees, Srila Prabhupada's position as the Acharya, and sadhana, the habits of sadhana. So it's all online. It's not going to be given here. It's all online. It's on Zoom. It's in our newsletter. If you don't get our newsletter, come talk to me afterwards, and I'll make sure you get the link to it. It should be really, really wonderful. Nice devotees are teaching it. And if you want to learn more about the way things go on at the temple and different habits, now you have somebody like Trilochan and Dr. Charles and Haryashram. They grew up in an ashram, so this is kind of taught to them in a day-to-day practice. But for those of us like myself that never really lived in an ashram, you learn by when you come here, and little bits and pieces of it. So this is kind of more of a comprehensive training on the different behaviors and etiquettes that take place at the temple. Next Saturday is Diwali. So we're going to be celebrating it here from 6 o'clock to 8. We'll have some kirtans, nice talks, katha. We'll have candles every night. We offer candles to Lord Damodar, so we'll also be on Diwali. We'll also have, a festival of lights as well. The following day, next Sunday, is Govardhan Puja.
What about fireworks on the
We're not going to be doing the fireworks this year.
Are we going to do that outside?
No fireworks this year.
No, ma'am?
No, so we're going to have the Govardhan Hill here.
No, river?
So it won't be outside because we don't know in the middle of November whether we're going to get really cold.
It was raining.
It seems like we're not as austere as they were back then. So we're going to have the Govardhan Hill here, and the temple will be open from 4:30 to 7:30. So people can come at different times and still hear kirtan, hear class, circumambulate the hill. Make sure you come, circumambulate the hill. That'll be available for over 2.5 hours. So different times people can come, so we don't have to converge at the same time. And then the following Wednesday, after Govardhan Puja, is the disappearance day of Srila Prabhupada. So it's a day that we honor our founder Acharya for all the wonderful mercy that he's given us and continues to give us in separation. So these are some of the things that are coming up. Every night you can come here and light a candle to Lord Damodar. We sing the Damodarastakam prayers at 7 o'clock. So we would love to, any questions that you have, anybody's newcomers, please come see me. We can talk about how you can get involved even during this time of pandemic. I'd like to thank Haryashra Prabhu and Denutarpata Prabhu for speaking about this Live to Give campaign. We're very enthusiastic about it here at ISKCON Philadelphia. And all the online viewers that have joined us via Zoom and YouTube, thank you for patiently listening to us. And we look forward to connecting with you during our morning classes and throughout the week. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you very much.